Welcome to this episode of Conversations, where real talk meets real people with real stories. And now, today's guest is not just about cutting hair, he is shaping culture and confidence building. And then he has a lot of conversations that will teach us stories as well. One celebrity at a time, not just celebrities, but also business people line up in order to get an appointment with him. And so he's held clippers like a maestro holds a baton conducting an orchestra. And he's turned barbershops into safe spaces for conversations and studios into style units where people bring out the best in them through his help. And he's got the blades, the fades, and the shades. In other words, I want you to help me welcome the man behind the cuts of the stars and the famous people and the business people all over the place. He is the celebrity barber himself, Mr. Gum Cruz. Gum,
Hi.
welcome. Huh?
Thank you very much for this opportunity for me to be here and
Sure.
guest in your
It's my
conversation.
pleasure,
Francis.
and thank you for taking the time to
Oh,
be here
definitely.
because we've got a lot of things to say. And alam mo, while we were in Signet, a beautiful store, which is, alam ko talagang
Definitely.
regular client ka dun, ano ah. And I was telling people na hindi ka model, pero ikaw ay barbero. Tapos na siguro marami nagtataka, barbero? So what? But whenever I say, and thank you for your permission, whenever I say, he's a barber who charges 2,500 pesos per cut, oh man, that brings the attention. So I guess I'd like to start our conversation today by asking you this question. What was your journey in life that brings you to where you are? And tell me how it all started. And how is it that while other people will be charging, the regular pay, the regular prices, and you're able to charge this high and people are lining up to get your service? Tell me your story.
Okay. I actually have a very unusual career path, if you may. It all started out kasi I am a college graduate.
All right.
And in my college years kasi, I studied HRM, which is Hotel and Restaurant Management. Very unusual, right? Paano
Yes.
na nangyari ang isang HRM student naging barber? Well, it actually gets weirder because after graduating from HRM, my first job was not actually in this HRM industry, but more of a banker.
Did you take up HRM because you were forced by your parents, or was there a particular decision that made you decide to take up HRM?
It wasn't forced to me by my parents, pero HRM, kasi HRM in my school in Pampanga was under CBA or College of Business and Accountancy. So I thought to myself, kasi when I was in college, I didn't know what I wanted to become, what career path I would choose. So sabi ko, I would take this course para it would be very flexible. I would have management subjects, accounting subjects, anything relating to hotels and restaurants. So sabi ko, I could be whoever I want to be when I graduate.
So parang maraming mga high school graduates na, oo, gagraduate na ako ng high school, pero hindi ko pa alam kung anong course ang kukunin ko. Yung iba naman, oh, my parents are asking and forcing me to take up medicine.
Yeah.
Yung iba naman, wala silang pakialam. Basta
Yeah.
gusto ko makarating sa next level ng Minecraft or something else. So, your decision was, medyo alam mo na, no? Pagkatapos ng high school, doon ako papasok. Any
Yeah.
particular reason why?
So, yung reason lang talaga why I took up HRM is just more of the flexibility of it. Kasi I didn't really have any plans on kung ano yung magiging career ko. And this was just more of a play safe thing na ginawa ko.
playing safe.
Yeah.
Oo.
I was playing it safe.
So, you felt like pag pumasok ko sa entertainment industry, hospitality business, medyo mas secure ka ng konti.
Yes.
Doon. Okay.
And then, after I graduated, a lot of people would expect me to be in that industry, HRM.
Yes.
However, I experienced things during my journey in the HRM which spoke to me na hindi pala ako para sa industry na ito. That's why when I graduated, I did not stick to this industry, but rather I became a banker.
A banker. Teka. Was there any particular experience in your life that made you decide na hindi ito para sa akin?
I guess it was during OJT, on
Mhm.
the job training. We, nagkataon lang siguro na yung experiences ko doon sa hotel kung saan ako nag-OJT was was really bitter for me due
Uh-huh.
to certain reasons as
Uh-huh.
to nalaman ko on how much work they have to do, tapos
Uh-huh.
yung pay nila, which I personally didn't resonate with, kaya sabi ko,
Okay.
I might not stick with this industry, and I jumped banking.
Were were you able to get the support you were looking for when you were doing OJT? Or did you feel like nag-OJT ka sa kanila pero the people there just felt like OJT lang naman yan. What was your experiences with OJT?
Unfortunately, it breaks my heart to say this, but during my experience there, I had such a bitter experience wherein we were getting, we were told to do things that I didn't expect that we were supposed to do. I get it, OJT is all about getting the experience, first-hand experience
Okay.
ng industry na yan.
Oo.
Pero what they asked us to do kasi is things that I didn't really expect that they would make us do, such as cleaning the employee's CR instead of the guest's CR, these kinds of things. I mean, I'm not bad-mouthing these
Yes,
hotels,
yes,
pero siguro
yes.
nagkataon lang na I was put in a situation wherein it might not be the most ideal one, but because of that, it left a bitter taste in my mouth, which led me to trying out a different industry than pursuing hotel and restaurant or hospitality.
This
the industry.
reminds me of many companies with OJT programs. They don't really give a lot of importance in looking at the potential of their OJT people. So, dalawang bagay po nangyayari. Some people who enter into their OJT program felt like basta makompleto ko lang ang fulfillment dito tapos na wala akong pakialam. So they are there. There's a phrase in English slang that says they're occupying space and sucking air, di ba? Kaya kapag gano'n naman ang attitude ng mga nag-OJT, you don't expect a lot of good things to happen to you. On the other hand, may mga companies naman na marunong mag-spot. Itong batang to, iba. Magaling, no? May work attitude, yung kanyang drive to learn is there. Alagaan kaya natin to. Malay mo, ito yung magiging part ng ating company. But in your case, mukhang hindi napansin yung potential mo. No?
Unfortunately, that was the case. I'm sure it might not be the case for all people, pero nagkataon lang siguro na sa akin naging ganun. That's why it led me to where I am now.
But you did learn something.
I did learn something. I learned a lot of things in HRM. First is, of course, it's the hospitality industry. So one of the most important things that I learned is how to make a client feel special. It is what's the hospitality industry is
that's
all
a
about anyway.
gist,
Parang even here in Signet, right? Whenever you go here, they make you feel special. They
Sure.
make you feel that these clothes are for you instead of
Yes.
being scared with the prices, di ba?
Right.
And a lot of things that I learned there too is actually as a barber, I can relate a lot of things that I do right now with how I did things in HRM.
But you did say that you transferred from HRM and then entered into another totally different industry, which is banking. Now, how did that happen?
Okay, so with my experience in HRM, it left a bitter taste in my mouth. This was the time wherein me and my family were also financially challenged.
Alright.
So I was looking for a career path that could provide security for me as soon as possible. And one of the path that I chose is banking. Kasi napansin ko, mga kakilala kong bankers, they have families, they have children, tapos yung mga children nila nag-aaral naman in a good school. So sabi ko, might as well try it in this path. So I applied in a bank, and I got accepted as a marketing specialist for loans.
Marketing specialist for loans. So you
Yes.
were practically getting a market for people to get loans from the bank.
Yes, so I was one of the frontliners wherein
Frontliners.
if you try to get a loan or you have any concerns with your loans and then you go to the loan center, kami yung frontliners po na will attend to you.
So yung interface with clients
Yes.
happens in your department. Okay.
Yes. And me being in the HRM industry has helped a lot. Kasi syempre one of the things that I learned in HRM is when you are a front desk in a hotel, how do you deal with clients, right? So it's basically the same job that I had starting out in the bank.
I had a question for you. By nature, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I am an introvert.
Introvert.
Yes.
But even in HRM and then even in banks, you had to face a lot of people. So how did you deal with that introversion of yours naman?
I would say it was a very hard switch at the first. I mean, nung nagsimula ako sa bank. Kasi imagine, I'm an introvert and then I'm placed in the front of the house
Right.
wherein kami yung first touch sa mga clients, sa mga inquiries nila. But of course, the thing with having a job is you don't necessarily have much of a choice.
Right.
If this is your job, you need to do your job.
Oh, yeah, right.
So even if I was an introvert, I had to learn to become very social with people
Yes.
so that I can service them properly with my job.
You know what? Let me talk about introversion and extroversion. Marami akong kilala mga successful people are really introverts. And guess what? You're looking at one. I'm really an introverted person. Pero sabi naman ng isang negosyante sa akin, Francis, you're wrong. You're not an introvert. You are a functioning introvert. In other words, I know how to switch on and switch off, but I'm actually enjoying meeting people now, and I'm getting advantage. And did you ever relate by being introverted? You were shy. Was it shyness or hindi naman? Other reasons why you felt like you were an introvert?
It was more of, I guess, other than shyness, I was socially awkward.
Okay.
It always felt like I wanted to butt into conversations, meet other people, but I would always have problems in such a way na hindi ko alam kung paano mag-open up, what topic to start with. Basically, small talk. I did not
Yes.
know how to do small talk.
Oh, okay. Now, that's a skill
Yeah,
diba?
it is.
So when you were in HRM and you were not being treated with what you were expecting, it is a skill to be patient with it. But
Yeah.
you were learning things.
Yes.
And then when you transfer to banking, you had to build a skill of dealing with people, conquering your maybe fear or discomfort of having small talks, because you do have to make small
Yeah.
talks, and then you develop your skill there. So apart from being a marketing of loans, what else did you do in the bank that made you learn stuff?
Okay. So, I started out as a marketing specialist, but eventually, I got promoted every year to the point na naging loan account officer ako.
Okay.
And during loan account officer, so earlier on, I was an introvert. Noong
Yeah.
loan account officer na ako, it was a total paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Kasi as a loan officer, it was my duty to go to our partner dealers such
Yes.
as Toyota,
Yung mga
Mitsubishi,
car
car
shops,
dealers kasi I
yeah,
was mainly
okay.
handling auto loans. It
Oh.
was part of my job to go to these offices, talk to their bosses and ask for market share. Now, how will I be able to do so if I was shy, if I was an introvert? Kaya I really had to learn to develop myself to do my job properly.
When you were dealing with these clients of yours, did you meet difficult clients?
Oh,
Or
definitely.
You did. So how did you build up the resilience of dealing with difficult people?
This is funny that you asked po, Sir Francis, kasi this is one of the main thing that transformed me into who I am now. Syempre, when we are working corporate, there's a corporate hierarchy wherein kapag may problema, if hindi kayang isolve ng sa baba, i-raise siya. During my time in the bank, I handled it differently.
Okay.
Because as yung mga office mates ko,
Alright.
they hate difficult clients
Oh,
for
nga.
the most obvious reasons.
Oo nga naman.
Pero ako, I was actually hungry for them.
Oh. Are you a sadist by nature? Why do you feel like you wanted this difficult?
I took it as a challenge. Kasi nga
Okay.
dahil introvert po ako dati.
Oh.
Sabi ko, paano kaya may improve yung speaking skills ko? Ganyan. So, sabi ko, difficult clients, people avoid them kasi they're difficult. Pero ako kasi, I see an opportunity with them. Kasi it has always been a fulfillment deep down inside kapag I have a difficult client, tapos after I talk to them, after I cater to them, tapos ang ending, sila yung nagpapasorry sa akin na, sorry, nagalit ako kanina, and then they end up buying me coffee or giving me donuts or whatever. Kapag nangyayari po ito, Of course, I'm not saying anything in front of them. Pero sa isip ko parang, kita mo, kanina galit na galit ka, ngayon nagpapasorry ka sa akin. So there's a fulfillment deep down inside whenever that happens.
Yan ang lesson, ha? Kaya hanapin mo yung mga mahirap ka deal ng mga tao, sila ang bibili ng kape mo. Di ba? But this is also my observation.
Yeah.
Yung difficult clients na yan and difficult people to please, once you win their hearts, sila yung loyal.
Definitely.
Ibang klase talaga,
Yes.
no? Kaya ako personally, hindi ko masyado type yung mga, okay,
Yeah.
pero parang mababaw lang.
Yeah.
No? Pero there's definite. So, now that you're in banking, so, hospitality, banking, ang layo, hindi pareho. Eh, napunta naman sa barbering. So, ano naman yung transition na yan? At ano yung connect doon?
Actually, after banking,
Yes.
hindi po ako naging barber kaagad.
Aha,
I first left the bank mainly to become an entrepreneur.
okay.
The reason for it is while I was in the bank,
Alright.
meron akong dalawang sidelines or side hustles.
Aha.
First is I was thrifting, wherein I will buy clothes in the thrift store, sell it online for a profit. And second is I was distributing hair grooming products in my province.
When you say thrifting, thrift shops, ito ba yung similar to ukay-ukay type?
Yes, definitely. Right now, it's a very thriving industry, di ba? Parang marami na pong nagtatayong businesses na ukay-ukay, thrifting. Pero I was doing this way back 2006, 2007, wherein ukay weren't such a thing yet. Wala pa masyado maraming tao.
I never knew we had so many things in common.
Uh-huh.
2006 ka.
Yes.
Ako naman, 1990s, I was selling ukay-ukay, pero hindi ukay-ukay ang tawag dyan. Hindi thrifting. Ang tawag dyan, relief. Ito yung mga relief goods na galing Japan. Tapos, pag nakachempo ako ng relief package na Georgette, ang mga tela, mura, kumikita ako. Pero pag dumarating yung mga relief package na mga maong luging-lugi ako, ang bigat eh. Diba? So you develop your entrepreneurial skills in selling thrift,
Yes. Earlier on
ukay
po.
type.
Yes.
And then, you were also doing something apart from the thrift stores, di ba?
Yes, I was selling hair grooming products
Hair
or distributing
grooming
hair grooming
products.
products. Or
Okay.
pomades, specifically.
And why pomades of all things? Bakit hair grooming products?
Kasi in 2014, I was part of this group of barbers wherein sila yung gugupit, pero I didn't want to cut hair back then.
Okay.
So, ang ginawa ko is, paano kaya ako makakatulong sa grupong to? Eh, yung iba kasi, they're called brewers. Sila yung gumagawa ng mga pamada. These are homemade pomades.
Talaga?
Yes.
Okay.
And I realized na, paano ako makakatulong sa kanila? Sige, total, ang movement na ito is all in Manila. I'm gonna help spread this. I'm gonna take it to my hometown of Pampanga. So I asked these brewers, parang sabi ko, can I distribute this in my hometown of Pampanga? I'm gonna buy it to you wholesale, sell it there for SRP.
Okay.
Tapos yung mga barbers na to, I asked them na, maybe you can do guestings in Pampanga. I can host you. So I will make events in Pampanga wherein gugupit yung mga kakilala kong barbers and I will be the one who sells the pomades. So that in its own created the movement in Pampanga that started everything there, I would
Tell
say.
me a little bit about events. How did you do that? Anong contents ng events mo?
Okay, so the event will be, I will invite the barbers who are based here in Makati. Tapos papapuntahin ko sila sa Pampanga. Now, before that event happens, leading to it, I will make posters wherein sasabihin ko, the best barbers in the Philippines will come to Pampanga. Who wants to get a cut from them? It will be this price. Tapos, sa price na lang yun, hindi na ako kumukuha ng cut. Kasi I understand, of course, they're still traveling from Makati to Pampanga for it. So, they get to keep the money. How do I earn? Kasi while they're cutting, ako naman yung magbebenta ng pomades on the sides.
Okay.
So after they cut, they apply the product. Of course, the clients will ask.
But do you
"Anong product?"
do you charge entry prices for
No,
them
no.
to? Wala.
Wala.
So libre to.
Libre lang.
Talagang darating sila, no?
Yes.
Ha? Okay.
So yung babayaran lang nila is the haircut price. Pero of course, after nilang magupitan, pomade will be put in their hair and then they will ask, ano yung nilagay mo sa
galing
buhok ko?
ah.
Maganda yan ah.
Galing nga.
Doon ako papasok na, it's
okay.
actually pomade. So
Oo.
I'm selling it
Oo.
and it's exclusively for this event. So you should buy one. That's how I create my money then.
So when you were selling pomade, was there something about barbering that attracts you naman? Teka muna. Mukhang maganda yung barbering. Kasi it's not a very common thing for people to say na ito na nga, nagbebenta ako ng produkto, tapos papasok ako sa pagupitan. But what made you do that?
I wasn't a barber back then. I
Right.
was just merely an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Pero dahil nakikita ko yung mga kasama kong barbers, I've always loved the craft. Nakita ko na every time na may gugupitan sila, and then they make people smile, sabi ko, ang gandang craft neto. But the problem is, I have a pet peeve of having hair in my clothes. So sabi ko, I'm never going to be a barber. Magbebenta lang talaga akong pamada.
You don't want hair on your clothes.
No, so I didn't want hair in my clothes, so I never expected that I will become a barber.
Is there any particular reason why nakita mo yung ngiti sa mga customer after being cut? Dahil madalas ako nakasimangot pagkatapos ako magupitan eh. So, what was the reason? And what made you notice that particular thing?
I would say, iba kasi yung delivery ng haircuts ng mga barbers na to back then. Madalas kasi when you go to a barber shop, the usual thing would be, you go to a barber shop, yung barber, medyo busy siya. Tapos kapag it's your turn, parang, upo ka, upo, anong gupit mo? Ito, wala nang tanong-tanong, gawin na lang nila. Regardless if nasunod yung sinabi mong cut o hindi, gagawin lang nila. But even if you didn't like the cut or sasabihin mo, ayaw mong paikli pero iniklian nila, after the cut, you have to pay. And then you leave. And then you just pray for better haircuts next time.
You're not just a barber, and you're not just a professional barber, you're a celebrity barber. Ikukwento ko to sa iyo. Kaya ako parang na-discover ko yan, pero I can't pinpoint why eh. Pero I discovered na if I go to a barber shop early in the morning, magandang gupit eh. Pero mga bandang 5 o 10, pangit talaga, no? Siguro pagod na yung
Pagod
barber.
na sila.
No?
Apo.
Tapos, this reminds me, by the way, meron ka bang na-experience na yung customer mo dumating, may dala siyang magazine clipping na isang artista? I want my hair to be like this, no? Nangyari daw pala yan. In a hair salon, there was this lady who bought in the picture of a very beautiful movie actor. Sabi niya, I want my hair to look like her. Eh, yung hair cutter, siyempre, hindi pwedeng sabihin na imposible mangyari yan. Pero habang ginugupitan, naghaham siya ng music. Tung, 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 tung. Mission Impossible pala yun. So, if you have clients that would say, oh, Gam, gusto ko kamukha itong gupit na to. And you know it doesn't fit him well. So what do?
I become honest with it.
You become honest.
I would say that would differentiate me from the other barbers. Kasi other barbers, they would just say yes. They think that becoming a yes man would satisfy your clients. But in reality, what I think na kailangan ng mga kliyente is being brutally honest and being an expert in what you do. Kasi how will I help you if I'm not honest what the problem is? Same with your example po. If you show me a picture and then you tell me na I want my hair to be this way, nagpakita ka afro siya. Pero syempre tayo, Asians, we're not afro. I mean, it's an obvious reasoning na hindi pwede yan sa'yo. Pero other barbers kasi, they would say, okay, and do your hair.
Why do you think that most barber shops cannot elevate their prices? Laging naglalaro dyan sa 150, 200, yung mas chain na nasa 400 or something. Why do you think they cannot elevate their prices?
One of the reasons that I really think kung bakit hindi nila ma-elevate yung price nila, na nahihirapan sila mag-elevate ng price nila, is because the value of the service that they are offering is not even at par to the value of the price that they are charging.
Okay. Kasi there's a difference between price and value.
Yes.
Price is actually what you pay for. Value is what you experience.
Yes, correct.
Kaya naalala ko tuloy, yung bang thinking na make it cheap, get more volume. No? So nangyari nga sa American Mall, hindi ko makakalimutan to eh. All cuts, only $7. Yan nakalagay. Eh maraming makakalaban sa mall. Yung katapat niyang kalaban nakalagay doon. All of our cuts are $9. Tapos may explanation. Because we fix $7 haircuts. Diba? Inaayos nila eh.
Inaayos nila yung $7 haircuts.
So, balikan natin ng konti. What made you decide na itong barbering is something I want to enter into it? And what was your journey there that elevates you from the regular prices the barbers charge into the rate that you are charging now?
Okay, going back to our story earlier. So at first, ganun ako nagka-interest sa barbering industry because of my friends.
Yeah.
This means, while I was working at the bank, meron akong sideline na. I was selling clothes, selling pomades. It came to a point wherein I had a random thought na sabi ko, kasi yung work ko, 8 to 10 hours sa bank, is I get this money,
Right.
this amount of money. In my sideline, 2 hours average a day, I get this amount of money.
Right.
It's the same.
The same.
So sabi
Oo.
ko, since I'm earning the same, what if I poured more hours in my sidelines? Eh di mas may chance akong kumita lalo. This led me to this crazy thought na sabi ko sa sarili ko, I'm going to take everything that I saved up 5 years in the bank and in my sidelines, I'm gonna create a brick and mortar out of it, a business for my clothes and pomades, and probably this time add a barber shop to it. So I left the corporate world to pursue that decision. I left,
You threw your savings into it.
yes, I left the bank,
Oo.
and then I got all of my savings, all of it, every single penny, every single peso, and then I started a brick and mortar for my clothes, my pomades, and a barber shop. All of this,
Yeah.
kasi I was promised, kasi I like reading books back then, I like
Alright.
watching YouTube videos of inspirational speakers, ganyan. They always say that you should leave the rat race, never become an employee, always become your own boss, build a business, become an entrepreneur.
Ang daming nagtuturo ngayon dyan.
Yes.
Yung bang, one of the clips I saw that made me wonder, why would they teach things like
Yeah.
this? Yung bang, sabi nung isa, kung gusto mo magnegosyo, dapat may pera ka. Sabi ko, duh.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
Diba? So, but yung nakikita mo trending sa mga turong gano'n, parang napakadali magnegosyo. No? You just leave everything, then you enter into business. So what was your personal experience?
So akala ko, that was it. Kasi
Yeah.
nga, dahil pinangako sa akin na as long as you leave the rat race, you build a business of your own, that's your key to success.
Right.
But what they didn't say is that this journey is going to be very, very hard. A lot of people think na when you're employed, parang, tatrabaho ka 8 to 10 hours, hassle. Pero they didn't say na kapag pala self-employed na ako, when I'm my own boss, I don't just work 8 to 10 hours, I work 24 hours. Kasi matutulog na lang po ako, iniisip ko pa yung
Oo
business
nga.
ko kinabukasan.
Oo nga.
And this was very true for me kasi in my first month of business, I was earning 0 to 300 pesos every day.
Ooh.
Which meant I was losing money every single day.
Right.
I couldn't pay for my overhead expenses, my employees, and even my meals and my family's meals for the day, I couldn't even pay. So the promise that I was reading na parang get out of the rat race, build a
Right.
business, hindi pala siya ganun kadali.
Oo.
And I learned that the hard way.
Right.
Now, andun na ako sa sitwasyon na yon. Of course, I go home crying, overthinking, anxiety. And then this was where I faced a problem. Sabi ko sa sarili ko, I had a dilemma. There are 2 options that I can do now. Number 1 is I can just cry and stay here,
Yeah.
self-pity. And our second one, I can just wipe my tears and then go back up and then laban ulit. Of course, I chose the second one. Now, by doing so, I went to the shop the next day. I was looking at my barbers. Wala silang ginagawa kasi wala pa rin akong benta. But then I thought to myself, sabi ko, wala silang ginagawa, I'm still paying them eh.
Yeah.
They still have their salaries.
The basic salary.
Their
apart
basic
from the
salary.
commission.
Yes. So sabi ko, what if I asked them to teach me how to cut hair? That way, even if one day I really have to close the shop down, I go back to the bank, I can always cut hair on the weekend or after work to make extra money. So sabi ko,
Right.
it's a skill eh.
Skill.
It's a skill that once I learn, I will never forget anyway. Then I can just work on it. So I asked them to do that. I asked them to teach me how to cut hair. And then I started cutting hair. Hindi ko sinasadya na, hindi ko inakala na may in love pala ako sa craft na to. And to the point na sobrang in love ko sa kanya, I became obsessed with it.
Oh.
And I know obsessed is such a huge word,
Yeah.
but in reality, this is what really happened to me.
Okay.
Because I was so obsessed to the point na my shop closes at down 9 p.m. I would stay there until 2 a.m.
Why? What were you doing? 2
I was
a.m.?
just watching YouTube videos on how to become better in
Yun.
barbering. So that was every day.
So your obsession, maybe the way for me to say this is your obsession is not with barbering. Your obsession was in the quest to excel more in your craft.
Definitely.
Okay. Right. And then what happens after that?
So, I became so obsessed with it na aside from this, na parang watching YouTube videos, I also tried to buy the best tools that money can buy. Kasi inubos ko na rin naman yung pera ko. So, parang, okay, then so be it. Buhos na talaga natin. I bought the best tools. I bought the best tools because I didn't want to have reasons for mediocrity.
Right.
Kasi syempre, imagine, I'm a barber with the best tools.
Right.
If yung outcome ng mga gawa ko isn't that nice, what would other people say? Ang ganda-ganda ng gamit niyan pero ang pangit ng gawa niya.
Correct.
Diba? So it became a motivation for me.
Dapat mag-match no?
Yes.
Okay.
Dapat maganda gamit mo, maganda output mo.
Right.
So it became a reason for me po na from this point on, I can no longer do mediocre haircuts. Dapat from this point on, magaganda lahat ng gupit ko. Ayoko mapahiya. So ayun po yung tumakbo sa isip ko back then.
We go back to the concept of price versus value. Parang kung i-equate ko yung price na charge mo in haircut, parang the clothes here in this store, this is not cheap.
Yes.
No? Pero if something like this that people would usually say that costs a fortune, pero it lasts for years, then you get the value, and when you equate that with price, it's a very good investment after
Definitely.
all. No? Pero ang problema ko dyan, halimbawa magpapagupit ako sa iyo and I have to pay you 2,500, ang nasa isip ko naman, tutubo na naman to eh. This will not last for 5 years.
Yeah.
Paano naman yan?
Yeah.
Why do you think people keep on coming back to you even after you have charged them that exorbitant price?
Okay. So Filipinos have this belief. Majority of Filipinos. I did my research on it.
All right.
Majority of Filipinos believe that whenever you get a haircut from a barber, after the haircut, hindi mo na maganda yan. You will have to wait a week or two for it to grow a bit.
Oo.
Tapos doon pa lang siya maganda.
Oo.
And siguro maganda siya for about a week or two ulit, and then after that, wala na. It expires. Pangit na yung tubo. You have to get a haircut again immediately. So that's the thinking of Filipinos for a haircut. Yun na yung nakasanayan natin. But I believe there's a flaw to that belief. Kasi bakit, if it's such a great service, if it's such a great outcome or product, why do you have to wait for it to become great? So, ang promise ko sa mga clients ko is this. For 2,500, which is higher than your usual haircut price, here's my promise. After the haircut, your hair will look great. Immediately.
Okay.
If I put hair product on it and then I style it, I can make it better.
Wow.
After you go out of the barbershop, you go home, take a bath, you remove everything, tapos syempre, hindi mo na alam ayusin yung buhok mo. It would still look good. And then it doesn't stop there. After 1 to 2 weeks of growing, it has now grown, pero since it's cut correctly, it's cut proportionally, it starts growing proportionally. So after 2 weeks, you will realize na, pwede pa to humaba na siya, pero ang ganda pa rin. And even a month or 2 has passed, of course, hahaba na yung buhok mo. Pero my promise is, even if hahaba yung buhok mo, it will grow proportionally. Kasi you always have to remember, when hair is cut correctly, it will grow correctly.
Yeah. Alam mo, hanggang ngayon pa rin ang paniniwala ako eh. Kaya halimbawa, may okasyon ako, I'll be speaking in front of 1,000 people in the audience. Kaya 5 days before, magpapagupit na ako. Kasi after 5 days, doon gaganda yung buhok ko. Mali pala yun. But why do Filipinos develop that kind of thinking?
I think it's more of with what they experienced. To the point na, pati kasi sa mga elders natin, ganun yung experience. Hanggang sa na-ingrain sa utak natin na, that's normal. Ganyan kasi talaga yan eh. Pero here I am right now. I like to break the status quo. I like to break that ritual wherein, hindi tama yun eh. Dapat, after pa lang, maganda na. Think of it as with any profession. So siguro, an architect, engineer, you want to build a house.
Right.
Okay lang ba sa'yo? If you pay me this price, I build you a house, hindi mo na siya maganda ha. After ilang years, dun mo na siya gaganda.
Correct.
It seems unfair, right? So I think the best service would be same as with the clothes here.
Yeah.
You buy them pristine, they look nice.
Right.
And as you wear them, they get broken in.
Yeah.
Magmo-mold sila sa movement mo, sa body mo. They become better as they age.
That's true, huh? And then So, what I picked up from you is that in your quest to excel more in your craft, you were spending hours just studying YouTube. Are there any other sources of your study that helps you increase the quality of your craft?
Yes. Here in the Philippines po kasi, if you want to become a barber, you just become a barber. You just decide to become a barber. The next day, you can already apply for a job as a
Right.
barber.
Okay.
But in the first world countries such as the US, UK, Japan, before you can cut hair commercially, you need to study in a barbering academy for more or less 2 years,
Oh.
pass the state exam,
Oh.
get a license, and that's the only time you can cut hair commercially.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yes.
You need to have a license to cut hair.
Yes, especially in the US po. Kasi US, they like to sue. So, ano kasi to
Oo nga.
they hold the barbers responsible. So if,
Oo.
halimbawa, nasira mo yung buhok nila, they can sue you because you're a professional.
I was beginning to think that dito sa Pilipinas, kailangan may lisensya ka para patayin yung barbero mo, di ba? Kaya we always hear na, sino bang barbero mo? Pinatay ko na.
Buhay pa ba? Buhay pa ba yung barbero mo?
Oh yeah. Okay. So what are the additional courses and the additional things that you invested in your study?
So even if I didn't have to have barbering education here in the Philippines, I chose to get it. And this was during pandemic. Kasi pre-pandemic, I was supposed to fly to the UK and study there in an actual barbering college. This was because, yun nga po, I was very obsessed with barbering. That's why I wanted to do it. But then the pandemic happened. So everything was closed down. I already paid for my school. So sabi ko, paano yan? Do I get a refund?
Right.
Sabi nila, sorry, we don't issue refunds. Sabi ko, paano tayo? And then they gave my classes online.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so technically speaking, I did my 2 years online during
Alright.
pandemic.
Okay.
While everybody was sleeping, watching Netflix, making dalgona,
You were studying.
I was studying.
All right.
And then, to the point na after the pandemic, when everything opened up, it gave, since bukas na yung bansa, pinuntahan ko yung owners ng school nito to undergo one-on-one training with them. So yes, I finished my course online, but after everything else, pinuntahan ko rin sila to undergo one-on-one training. So, long story short, I pursued education in barbering, even if I didn't have to, because I was just really obsessed with it.
You know, if I piece up your journey, and we have a lot of young people viewing our episode, parang nakikita ko yung I understand that you're going to be giving TED Talks, you're going to be speaking all over the place. May mga bata who started as graduating from high school, entering into college, they don't know what course they're going to take, they're not sure whether the courses their parents are teaching them to, forcing them to, or what. What would be your advice at this moment if you happen to find yourself as a high school student about to enter that phase?
I would say, do not be afraid to take on a decision or to make a decision. Kasi at the end of the day, nobody really knows if it's the right decision or not.
Right.
There's only one way to find out.
Yes.
And that's for you to try that decision. And stick to it. Kasi a lot of people then, they do a decision, tas parang, wala pa nga.
Oo.
Ayaw na.
Oo.
So what I would say is, stick to it for quite a while.
Oh,
And then, try to do your best at it.
yeah.
Now, after a while, if just in case na you realize that it's not for you, at least you got something out of it.
Right, right.
Because in my journey, what I would say na helped me propel upwards
Yes.
is because of my unusual path.
Mm.
I was an HRM graduate, a banker, became an entrepreneur, a barber, and now
Yeah.
I'm trying to become a public speaker.
Yeah.
How does it all relate? Diba? Parang magkakaiba sila eh. How does it all relate? But there's this one thing that I studied, and it's called skill stacking. So what happened was, even though sobrang unorthodox ng path ko, when I was an HRM, I took everything that I could learn from that. When I was a banker, I will take everything that I learned from that, and so on and so on. And now, if I'm, as a barbering educator or a public speaker, I apply everything that I learned, and it somewhat became my superpower. So my advice would be, for the students na, do not be afraid to take on a decision.
Right,
Just make sure that when you're there, you learn as much as you can,
right.
you do your best,
Uh-oh.
And then later on, you will get to stack all the skills anyway, making you very great at what you do.
Yan ang isa sa mga pinakamahalagang lesson na may share mo. Ang tawag po niyan, skill stacking. No? For example, lahat ng journey mo sa buhay, may makukuha ka naman dun.
Yes.
And if you happen to be very young, I would suggest that you be a generalist. Lahat aaralin mo yan. Ngayon, alam mo, Gam, nakatanggap ako ng message sa Facebook na nagsasabing, I'm so depressed, I'm so far from my dreams, yung lahat ng passion na gusto ko ay hindi na nasusunod, anong dapat kong gawin sa buhay? So I would say na, syempre hindi ko madirekta, pero marami kasi mga nagtuturo din sa mga TikTok, social media na you have to pursue your dreams, pursue your passion. Teka muna, at my age right now and I look back, you have to determine, do you have the capacity to be able to put you in a position to make your dream a reality? Kung itong dreams mo, yung capacity mo naman nandito.
Yes.
Malabo yun. Halimbawa, maganda ang boses mo, pero gusto mo maging boksingero. Pwede naman siguro, pero kung boksingero ka, gusto mo maging singer, wala ka namang boses, hindi pwede. So secondly, the tides of events. Nagbabago kasi yung mundo eh.
Yes.
Halimbawa, nung araw, kung ang dream ko ay maging isang rockstar, hindi naman mga mangyayari yan. So, madidepress ka, but you invest the time that you have in whatever chosen field you have and pull out and pick up the best things that you can to learn. Diba? Because at the end of the day, nakikita ko na ngayon, yung common denominator from HRM to banking to entrepreneurship to becoming the celebrity barber that you have, ang daming mga dots eh, ang daming connection eh.
Yeah.
And as I usually share in my Level Up Leadership seminar, creativity is connecting the dots.
Yeah.
That makes you a well-rounded person. Kaya I'm gonna say something that's going to be very, very difficult to hear. Maraming magagalit sa akin. Content creation is not a skill. Content creation is you know how to articulate something and then you say it, but it becomes very cheap and very shallow. You've got to have life skills. You've got to have actual craft skills in order to make your content alive. Kaya pag tinitignan ko yung content na marami mga nagtuturo, lalong-lalo na bata pa, kulang pa sa content, kulang pa sa expertise and craft. Flat eh. Tapos puro rehash at puro repeatable things that you hear from other people too.
Yes.
Now, in your case, siguro as we end our episode now, what's keeping you busy these days? And where can people find you before I ask you two more sensitive questions?
Okay. Currently, I'm still doing my job as a barber on a daily basis, which
Alright.
means I still wake up every day, go to my shop, do haircuts, go home, and try to improve every day. Up until now, yung ginagawa kong watching videos and trying to improve, I still do that. The only difference is, ngayon is hindi na lang siya sa barbering. Because I am a barbering educator too. I'm the first Filipino for Southeast Asia to do it.
Okay.
And syempre, by having that job, parang I owe it to these people who trusts me that I do my job better. Which means I'm currently studying public speaking as well. And sa kaka-study ko ng public speaking, I try to do videos on it, share it online. I guess a lot of people are seeing my videos because I recently got invited to do a TED Talk
Yes.
this coming June 11. So which I'm very, very proud of because it was just once a dream. But most of the time, you will just see me in my shop or you can catch me creating my videos on what I do on a daily basis. I guess siguro I'll take this time to plug my socials.
Sure, please do.
You can follow me on Facebook, Gum Cruise, and TikTok, Instagram at The Gum Cruise. That's THE Gum Cruise. So dyan yung makikita lahat ng ginagawa ko from cutting hair to fashion, which is my main passion really.
Yes.
And then public speaking and trying to be an inspiration for others and try to help others in their journey.
You know, this gentleman is a sponge. Grabe mag-absorb ng knowledge to. Ngayon ko lang naintindihan dalawang bagay. kung bakit gustong-gusto mo sumama sa akin sa New York itong darating
Yes.
na conference dahil gusto mong ma-absorb lahat ng tinuturo ng mga superstar
Yeah.
best speakers in the world, no? And secondly, naalala mo ba yung unang haircut ko sa iyo dito?
Yes.
Dito sa Signet? Panay ang tanong mo eh.
Yes po.
Di ba? Pagkatapos, ako naman nagmamadali.
Yes.
Ito hindi ko makalimutan sa iyo eh. Sabi ko, matatapos na. Sorry, I'll catch up. Hindi ko makalimutan yung sinabi. Actually, Sir Francis, pasensya ka na. I can actually cut your hair in a short time, pero pinahaba ko lang dahil marami akong tinatanong sa iyo eh. So, those are marks of a person who wants to learn. At lagi kong sinasabi, hindi nakakahiyang magtanong. In fact, all the intellectuals, all the wise people, all the successful people, they keep on asking questions because they want to keep on learning. And that's what I found in you. And until now, you're still learning, ha?
Yes po.
Ito lang siguro ang advice ko sa'yo. Taasan mo pa yung presyo. Huwag sa akin, ha?
Yes
Sa
po.
iba.
Yung sa inyo, stay na lang natin. All others.
Katulad ng magaling na videographer natin, si Mauro. Taasan mo ng presyo yan. And so, from clippers to confidence, from style to substance, from understanding price to value, now you understand. What is it that makes us challenge the status quo, search for higher excellence in our craft, becoming the best that you can ever be? And so, this episode, I hope, will make you learn things that can help you to succeed as well. So, Mr. Celebrity Barber Gum Cruz, taasan mo yung presyo kasi may tariff tsaka inflation.
Opo.
And with all these things that we learned from you, maraming salamat.
Thank you very much po.
I
It's an
wish we
honor.
can bring this even longer, but there's just so much stuff that we can learn from you. Maybe in the future we'll guest you again. ha?
Definitely. It would be an
And-
honor.
And I can assure you that this guy is a brilliant speaker. And hindi ako basta-basta nag-endorse, ha? But I see the making of an excellent speaker and an educator who can share brilliant ideas that can help people succeed. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Congress.
much. Thank you very much,
ha?
Sir Francis, for everything, for your guidance. And
You're welcome. At para naman sa inyo, nanonood at sumusubaybay dito sa Conversations, as usual, matagal ko na pinapractice pero hindi ko pang masyadong makuha to. If you like this episode, paano ba yun? Ha? Click and subscribe. Ganun ba yun? Ha? A like? Oh, yun. Yun na yun. Pareho lang yun. This is Francisco for Conversation. At, thumbs up pa? May thumbs up pa.
Basta wag thumbs down.
Okay. Bigyan mo ako ng positive feedback, ha? Ayoko yung negative feedback. So, thank you very much for following this episode. We're gonna have a lot more coming as we engage ourselves in real conversations with real people, with real stories designed to help us succeed. Thank you for watching this episode. This is Francis Kong here at Conversation.